Hi, Rika. Welcome to this conversation with Trip 101 about your two Airbnb properties. So let's get started. And you can begin by introducing yourself and the two Airbnb properties that you host in the Philippines.
Hi everyone, I'm Rika Mabelle and I'm an Airbnb superhost. In a span of 3 years, we've managed to host over 1,000 stays. In my YouTube channel, I share contents about Airbnb hosting, my other businesses, and personal growth. And for this interview, I'll be featuring with you the two houses that we have on Airbnb. And it's actually located in Lemery, Batangas, a beach town here in Philippines.
Well, could you tell us more about Lemery and the beach next to your properties?
All right. So, actually, our place is located in Lemery, Batangas. It's one of the beach towns in Batangas, and it's super close to the famous Taal volcano, the smallest volcano in the Philippines. We are part of the Balayan Bay in Lemery, Batangas. Since our place is near the Taal volcano, our sand is black because it's also called volcanic sand. So it's one of the areas that got affected when it exploded in the past. But the black sand is therapeutic.
Is the volcano a dormant one?
Right now, it's active, but there's no activity at the moment. Sometimes it's on and off. Last 2019, I think there was a threat that it's gonna explode, but good thing nothing happened. And
Okay.
business is actually back, and the tourists are actually back in Lemery, Batangas.
What about the beach? How far is the bay from your property?
Actually, our place is beachfront property. So once you get out of the house, you'll be immediately welcomed by the beach.
Oh, it's right there. Could you paint a picture of the beach for us? What's the special thing about it? You already mentioned the black sand, but what sort of activities can one expect to do on the beach?
All right. So the activities that our guests do at the beach is since our the texture of our sand is fine, so they really enjoy like just walking around and just chilling around the seaside. And in addition to that, they also play volleyball. You have available beach volleyballs in there. And at the same time, we also offer bonfire. And sometimes for big groups, since our place actually attracts so many like big group tourists, so what we do is we set up a parasol, like a really huge tent where the guests can chill and spend time with their loved ones by the beach.
Okay, that sounds lovely. So this is a private beach or a public beach?
It is actually considered a public beach, but it is very seldom that other residents from the barangay go into our beach since it's like a semi-private thing.
Okay, so it doesn't tend to get very crowded.
Yes, it doesn't get crowded. It's usually our guests who crowd the beach.
Okay. Apart from this one that's right outside the property, what are the other popular beaches in Lebanon? Are there any that are also close to you?
All right, so the closest beach from Balayan Bay, which is where our beach is located, is actually Anilao, Batangas. So Anilao, Batangas, if you ride the boat from our place, it's just 15 to 30 minutes. It features a spot for free diving and scuba diving. The place is super rich in marine life. So it's a great marine life sanctuary. Our guests book our place and rent a boat from our place going to Anilao, Batangas to have free diving, scuba diving, and all those things.
That's wonderful. Do you have any marine wildlife on your own beach? Do you spot something occasionally, or visitors usually have to travel to Adelaide to do that?
Oh, actually, since our place in Balayan Bay is like a fisherman's area, what we see or discover along our shores are the small crablets. They
Mm.
walk around the seaside, and there are times like when it's almost rainy season, there's tons of squid around the area. Those squid actually they arrive or like they stay at our beach area or at the water, the sea part. during night, and some of the fishermen actually have flashlight and they try to capture some of the squid, but they're elusive.
Okay. What about you mentioned the rainy season? When is a good time to visit Lemery? Is rainy season a good time to visit, or is there any other specific time of the year you'd specially recommend visitors to drop by?
I recommend that visitors visit our area. Like, I recommend our guests to visit our area during Burr months, like from September until summer. Because in the months of June, July, August, it tends to get really rainy. And though the good thing about it is you really get to experience the place in a really solemn and very calming way. It's actually very therapeutic. However, for us, the sea around the rainy season is turbulent, so I recommend the Burr months because by that time the sea is actually so calm and the water is blue. Like there's not much challenges in order to swim because also here in June, July, and August it tends to get really rainy and it's the typhoon season, so it's not really ideal to be at the beach around those time. However, on Vermont, it's actually really nice until January, February, March, April, and May. That the weather is so predictable and also the sea condition is great.
September to May is a good time, and July, August are the months to avoid. Between September to May, what are your peak months, like the ones where you stay the busiest?
The busiest months are November, December, and January because it's still considered as wait, hold on. Wait. Our busiest months are actually, yeah, November, December, and January because those are the times na holiday. It's the holiday season, and that's where most families gather and have reunions like that. Aside from that, during holidays, our place is actually packed during the holiday.
Oh, okay. So you tend to be booked out.
Yes.
Okay. So if someone's planning their trip around these busy months, how much in advance would you recommend them to book your properties?
At least 3 months advance. I recommend that they book a property 3 months in advance for them to get the ideal date that they want.
Okay, that should be a good tip to keep in mind. Rika, could you tell us a bit more about the kind of rooms that you have? What sorts of accommodations can guests find at the two properties that you host?
All right. For the Villa Rica Natural Beachfront Sanctuary, that house is good for up to 10 people. We have two rooms in that property. The first room has two queen size beds. The second room is a basement room where we have two bunk beds in there. And the place can comfortably fit up to 10 people. But in case that there's a big group that's gonna be staying in the place, we can actually have the place can be converted to good for 15 to 20 people. So there's a ton of space that we can use where guests can stay. And then meanwhile, for the other property, we have there two bedrooms. The first bedroom has full-size bunk bed. Meanwhile, the other bedroom also has a bunk bed, but the size is single size. But the entire place is good for up to 10 to 12.
So both houses can support large groups between
Yes,
15 to 20 at the first house and up to 12 at the second one.
yes.
Okay. And is it possible to also book the rooms separately, or do you host the whole house together?
Our guests really value privacy. So what we offer is we rent out the entire house separately. So guests can't only book a room in that particular house. They have to book the entire place.
Are there any sections of the house that have really good views of the sea or any spot where people can see sunrise or sunset?
In the Villa Rica Natural Beachfront Sanctuary, actually, when you go in the terrace, in the balcony, that for me is the perfect spot where you can watch the sunrise and sunset because You can clearly see the entire sea view. Meanwhile, in the blissful and serene beachfront sanctuary, it's on the second floor. On the first house that I mentioned, it's actually really nice there because it's really the beachfront property. Meanwhile, the other one has you'll be able to appreciate the view from the second floor.
Okay, so the second property has more like a panoramic view because it's higher up.
Yes.
Oh, that's lovely. Both of these have their charms. One is right on, you'll be like, touching the sand, and the other one gives you like a view from above.
Yes.
Let's get into the type of amenities that you offer. What can the guests do at your property? The type of amenities or facilities that you have at the property?
All right. For both houses, our mission is to be the go-to place for celebrating special moments in. So that's basically our mission in our brand. So what we really intentionally made the place like the we really designed the place so that it'll be super ideal when it comes to celebrations and events. So the amenities we have here at our places, at our Airbnbs, are videoke or karaoke so that guests can sing their hearts out. And then we also have smart TV so that guests can watch their favorite shows or they want to have movie night. What else? They want to stream, they want to tick. So that's kind of one of the things that we offer. And then we really make it a point that we have kitchen utensils, like complete kitchen utensils in our kitchen since it's a must for celebrations. In addition to that, we also have fast Wi-Fi in all our houses so guests can get in touch with their loved ones and other family members. Our guests love taking TikTok videos, doing dances, and Facebook Live from our balcony, something like that. Yeah, so that's the typical characteristic that we have observed on our guests.
Okay, so it's fully set up for all these Instagrammable moments and social media. What type of events do people tend to host? Like you mentioned, you're fully geared up for that. So, what are the celebrations that mostly, like frequently guests book the property for?
So what we noticed amongst our guests is they love celebrating their birthdays at our beach house. We have a spot in each houses where they can attach their like decorations for the happy birthday dad, something like that. They love celebrating birthdays and sometimes guests invite catering services so the decorator can decorate the entire place and they also have waiters inside. So our houses are pretty spacious to conduct those events.
Wow, that sounds like a wonderful place to host a party.
Yeah. Actually, some of our guests also like they put up like big tables on their balcony in the Villa Rica Natural Beachfront Sanctuary. They put up like really long tables where they put like the banana leaves in there and they conduct boodle fight. So what we did is we already placed a roof on the front so that when it rains, the visitors don't get wet in there. So so that it's more.
Okay, that's very thoughtful. You mentioned that you already have a full kitchen and caterers can come in. Do you also have any dining options within the property or nearby restaurants that you would recommend to your guests?
Our go-to restaurant nearby is Eduardo's restaurant. So it's 9 kilometers away from our place. We also provide options for our guests to order in advance because we have a supplier of party trays. They can pre-order prior to their stay so that when they arrive, it's served right away.
Oh, so they can let you know in advance that they'll need meals during their stay, and you can make it possible for them to get it when they get here.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And Eduardo's is 9 kilometers away, you mentioned.
Yes, Eduardo's restaurant.
What sort of cuisine does it offer?
Eduardo's restaurant offer Filipino cuisine. What we really love about them is that they have big trays, like we call it here in the Philippines, bilao. It's like a woven tray. And then they have tons of those. So it's super ideal for sharing. However, our latest partnership with one of our family member, who's a really great cook, is the party trays that we offer in pre-order.
In both ways, with the Palau trays at Eduardo's and the ones that you offer, groups are definitely set for their meals.
Yes, because some of our guests are not really fond of cooking inside the Airbnb, so they just want to relax, stuff their faces, get full sleep, and maximize their vacation.
Since they're there for a party, that's what one wants to do on such a vacation. Sounds lovely. Any other facilities or amenities that you would like to highlight at the property?
We've been getting so many inquiries about having a place where they can get married or conduct their reunion. So what we actually did is we have created this events place inside the vicinity. Just right outside the two Airbnbs, we have this newly opened events place. Guests can really celebrate their special moments there. Last week, we have a wedding there. They placed the wedding aisle and the entire setup by the beach. And then they had their reception at our events place.
Oh, lovely. So, is it like a small intimate wedding that can be hosted at the two properties combined?
Yeah, so when guests want to have their wedding in our place, they can book the other Airbnbs that we have inside the property. Because right beside the two BNBs, we have seven other houses inside the vicinity. So it's perfect for big groups or if they just want to have this the first house. If they just want to book one Airbnb, that's also okay. But if they want to have the place all to themselves, that is also an option.
How many people would be the size of the wedding party that they would be able to host at all of these combined, the two that you already have and the additional seven?
The capacity of the events place is up to 100 people. That's the seating capacity. But if they want to utilize the beachfront or the space outside the events place, we can host up to 50 because the place is really spacious.
Oh, that's quite a lot of people. So you'll
Yeah.
be hosting the weddings as well.
So,
Okay, that's great. I guess it's a natural progression from hosting birthday parties and other events to weddings, which are like a mega event for everyone.
yes. Mm.
Let's get a little bit into the neighborhood where you're located. What's the vibe like? Is it a place that stays open till really like late? Is it like a party hangout, or is it a quiet location that's
Actually, our neighborhood is super peaceful. What's interesting about our neighborhood is at the front of our Airbnb, since it's the beach side, an interesting part of it is when you, before entering our Airbnb, you'll pass by some rice fields. It's a nice touch to set the mood for vacation and relaxation away from the typical hustle and bustle of city life. Most of our guests also come from Manila. That's why they really appreciated that before entering our vicinity, they pass by rice fields, like a field with cows. And then when they enter a property, they'll see the beach already. It's like a perfect spot, like a province life.
and that sounds lovely. So it's like a quiet corner with nature all around.
Yes, that's correct.
Are there any attractions nearby that you would recommend your guests to go to if they're staying at your property? Maybe there are any nature trails or something like that.
One of the places that I highly recommend that is just 20 minutes away from our place is the historical town of Taal. It's in Batangas. Over there, you'll see the biggest basilica or the biggest church in Batangas. So I think the church was built around 1700s or 1800s. So it's actually nice. And then there are also some tourists there, or there's also some tourist guide that host a tour inside the vicinity because that town is actually the old Spanish houses are preserved. It's a really nice touch of history. And there are lots of museums also in there and antique shops. And the Batangas culture is really present in that area, historical town of Taal.
Oh, lovely. Guests can visit these spots and they can book those tours in advance, like their guided tours.
Yes, they can do that.
All right, that sounds great. Anything else that you'd like to talk about from the neighborhood, like any restaurants again, or any dishes specifically that you would recommend your guests to try out when they're in that area, like any specialities?
Okay, so for Batangas, what we have there is the special lomi. So lomi is kind of like a noodles dish that it also has. I'm not so sure if you're familiar, but this dish called sisig. So sometimes they add sisig in it. They also add like squid balls, kikiam. So it's our local delicacy. That is what Batangas is also known for. So around their area, there are stores there that they also compete in lomi making competitions. I think it's A Lomi House that won last year. So the town is actually competitive about it because that is what also Batangas is known for. So lomi. It's actually everywhere in Lemery, and I highly recommend tourists to try that dish.
Okay, and there are small establishments quite close by that guests can drop by at and try out.
Yes, the name is also Jan's Restaurant. So Jan's Restaurant is just maybe 5 minutes away from our place, and guests can also pre-order lomi from Jan's Restaurant and have it delivered to our place.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. Are there any, if people want to cook in the kitchen that you mentioned, fully equipped kitchen that you have, are there any like nearby grocery stores also that they can fetch their supplies from, groceries, etc.?
From our place, it's just 10 minutes away from. So there's actually nearby Robinson Supermarket on our place. And also the local market, the wet and dry market is also just 15 minutes away from our place. And what's also good about our municipality or our little town of Lemery is that everything is also in Google Maps. So what we do is we give out the Google Pin location to our guests so that they can quickly find the nearby grocery shop, the nearby wet and dry market where they can buy groceries, livestock, and all those things before going to our place.
Oh, that's great. So they'll have everything handy when they arrive.
Yes, yes, everything's so handy around our area.
Yeah, that's great. Anything else, like any kind of tips that you would share with your guests or anything that you would want them to know before they visit?
That's interesting. So I highly recommend our guests to, for me as the Airbnb host, since the place can get cozy, you could get so sleepy inside the place and all those things. I recommend our guests to buy food before going to our place because every time I go to our Airbnb, every time I visit it, it's actually cozy and you'll feel sleepy immediately and you just want to relax and not think about cooking any kind of dish. That's the reality. In addition to that, I recommend our guests to stay up a little bit late because there are also times that you'll really see the constellation on our. So when you have bonfire at night and then there's a chance that you really see the constellation, like super many stars.
Oh,
And it's super relaxing. It's unplugging from the typical work week in the city, something like that. So it's a really nice place where you can unwind.
you painted a really lovely picture. It sounds so fascinating. Like be on the
Yeah.
beach, see the constellations. Anything about safety or caution that you'd advise like your guests to anything about how to stay safe in the area or how safe is it in the neighborhood?
Our neighborhood is actually super safe because our neighbors are typically fishermen, local fishermen, so they really know each other. And in terms of security, we have not encountered any scary experiences or like life-threatening experiences on our beach side. because there was also a time where one of our guests really swam so far. That's really far. And I saw the photos, and then one of our guests almost drowned. However, the local community are very attentive when it comes to those things. So the fishermen went and rescued our guests before the, like the, what do you call this? The local coast people, the authorities can, so our guests, our neighbors are actually super attentive, and they also take care of our tourists or our guests.
That's good to know that people in the neighborhood are keeping an eye and
Mm.
helping out when, in case of any incidents. But generally, you would recommend people to be cautious as they would near the sea. I think I've covered all of my questions. Anything that you would like to add? Anything that you would want to attract guests? Anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, since I mentioned a while ago that we'll be opening an events place inside the vicinity. So I'd like to invite everyone to stay at our place if they're looking for a place where they can celebrate their upcoming birthday, reunion, or weddings, baby shower, bridal shower, business shower, and all those things. So they can really, our place, our doors are super open for everyone.
That's great. And you've carefully thought out about all of the various little things inside the house also that will make their event planning smoother. Yeah. Okay. Thanks so much, Rika. Kevin, is there any other question that you'd like to ask?
Oh, hi. Yeah, so she mentioned about sisig and lomi. Did they put the sisig inside the lomi? Because yeah, lomi is quite popular in the Philippines, but I haven't tried Batangas style lomi.
Yeah. Oh, so for the Batangas style lomi, they usually call it lomi overload or lomi special. So that's where they put all the, what do you call this? The kikiam, squid ball, fish ball, and sometimes they put the some parts of sisig in there too, and also chicharon. It can get really big, like one bowl can be this big, and it's overflowing so with so many toppings, and you'll know it's a really special lomi when there's sisig in it. It's so good.
Okay. So I haven't tried that one. Of course, I have tried them separately, fish ball, squid ball, but all of those ingredients in one dish. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
It's a feast, Kevin. It's a
Mhm.
feast. I'm craving for it now.
I could see from your expression how much you like it.
Yes.
That's great. So it's been lovely talking to you, Rika. Thank you so much for talking to us about your two properties and all the wonderful the location.
Thank you so much too for having me. I'm so happy about this interview.